When they pump it in the Jeeps, it's gon' rock right. True. In the streets, it's gon' rock right. True. At a show, it's gon' rock right. True. Here we go with the butters, boo, you know how we do. When they pump it in the Jeeps, it's gon' rock right. In the streets, it's gon' rock right. At a show, it's gon' rock right. Here we go with the butters, boo, you know how we do. Landscape.
Now, if you're gonna be a cigar smoking fool, you got to have the proper accoutrement. I think that's French for the right shit.
I used imagination like horn soul, master like Vic with the offbeat flow.
First of all, you want to have your cigar cut. That'll slice your cigars. Make sure you get a nice cut on your cigar.
A lot of folks, they take a cutter, and what they'll do is they'll go down to like right here, all the way down on it and try to cut it over. That's a bad move. What you want to do, you want to get that skin right off of the top. Just knock that little bit of skin off of there. Because if you cut down into here, you basically took a quarter of your cigar to throw it away. Don't make no sense. So what you want to do is get that top piece.
And you're gonna miss some of that flavor when you're gonna miss up that flavor that you're taking off.
That flavor right there, that's probably a whole nother change right there in the middle. From here to up top, so you definitely want to leave that piece there.
And it's usually, if you can get a close up of that, it's usually a little tiny. The actual wrapping on a cigar changes at the end, kind of like a guide as don't cut below here.
Right, and there'll be two pieces, so you'll see that there's a ring right here and there's a ring right there.
You want to get that first one.
They'll tell you, hey, listen, get the first one. But if you're a novice or whatever like that, just don't go below a second. Right. So you want to hit that top piece right on off.
Also, what you can do, if you're a real beginner, a lot of lighters come with what's called the bullet pierce, right? This little thing here, you just dig it in, and it won't take any of the skin off. It'll just put a hole in it, and you just smoke through the hole.
Nice little punch.
Yeah, just give it a little punch. Seasoned vets like us, we want all that smoke coming through that whole little ring, so we'll take it off, we'll chop it, but you ain't gotta chop it, you can use the bullet pierce. You wanna have your jet lighter, should be spitting blue flame.
You take a regular run-of-the-mill big lighter you buy out the 7-Eleven or the corner store. When you light it up, that flame, the smell of the butane or whatever it is going to get into the cigar, and for the rest of the time you're smoking it, it's going to be inside of it. So what you want to do is you want to either use a wood match, and even when you light the wood match up, you got match up? Even when you light the wood match up, you don't want to let the sulfur part burn and then start smoking with it. You want to let it burn down to the wood. You want to get as clean a flame as you can into the cigar.
That's a good point, because what a lot of people don't know about cigars is that cigars will basically absorb whatever is in the atmosphere. So that's a good point about the lighter. If you use that butane lighter, you catching all that nasty butane smoke in your cigar. Because a cigar, if you put a cigar in the humidor, it starts tasting like the wood. So it absorbs everything around it. It's a leaf. It's a leaf in tobacco.
So that's why you want to get a good humidor that has good wood inside of it. Keep it seasoned, keep it well humidified, so that when it does draw in that taste, it's not a bad taste you smoke.
Absolutely.
So, if you are going to get a lighter, you want to get something like a torch like this right here. This is cheap, but I'm telling you, it worked good for me. I had this joint for a minute. And when you light him up, it's going to have that good hot blue flame. Right? And what's going to end up happening is, when you do start him up, and again, I don't want to touch the fire to this because it's going to go up in smoke. What you want to do, you take that flame and you put it on the bottom of here. You just run it across the bottom a few times.
Right around the rim.
Right around the outside. You want to get it to where it's got a good cherry on the bottom here. That's called steaming. And what that does is it makes it so that when you do start smoking, you pull the flame into it. When you start smoking it, it gives it an even burn all the way through, all the way up to the top. If you don't do that, sometimes it'll burn like sideways, and that's a bad look. How is it that we keep these cigars fresh and able to, smoke on a consistent basis?
I'm glad you asked that, because probably the most important aspect of making sure you get a good cigar is making sure that it's fresh and making sure that it's well kept. Alright? And in order to do that, what you're going to have to do is get yourself a nice humidor. Shaboing!
Rubble town mixture, murder with the hypnotic blue girl, back to back, ghetto porn to scratch.
Most humidors have a top layer and a bottom layer. Alright? I keep, in my bottom layer, that's where I keep my premiums. I keep these on top for all you novice cigar smokers that come over here. Oh, let me try a cigar. Yeah, go ahead, take one right off the top. I don't ever even pull that out if a novice is around. They don't even know nothing's down there. Hey, yeah, take that. Here, get out, get out.
You always want to have a drawer to be able to remove from, because that lets you know that you got more room to pack cigars inside. So
now, in order to properly store this, it has to be set at a certain moisture temperature, and you know you want to make sure that that moisture is maintained, and that's what these things are right here. If you can get that, these are called what are these called? Hydro beads or whatever. And basically what they do is they regulate the moisture. Like these will actually dissolve into the air every time the moisture gets below a certain level, and it'll bring the moisture level back up in your humidor. And you know, actually before you do all that, you got to do what's called seasoning or priming the humidor. And what you want to do is you want to get yourself some of that there distilled water.
you need to have distilled water. Don't use spring water. Don't use the water out your tap.
Tell them why. Tell them why you mad, son. Tell them why you mad, son.
Because what distilled water is they take it and they get all the minerals and whatever good out of there, and it's just H2O. It ain't nothing but just water. If you take something with that minerals or fluoride or whatever else it is, and you put it inside of your humidor, once again, your cigars are going to take and get infused with all of that stuff that's in there, and it's going to ruin it.
And that stuff's not, those minerals and stuff aren't good for wood either, because a lot of times, you know, those microorganisms will get inside the wood and the wood will start warping and all that kind of crazy jazz. So, you know, you want to get you some distilled water.
And the inside of your humidor, if it's a good one, it's going to be cedar most 9 times out of 10. You just spend some good money on a piece of good material, and now you're going to ruin it with some sprinkles, some water out of the tap. That'll make no sense.
Yeah, I'll put some Deer Park in there. That's good water. Deer Park. That's good water. No, this is good. And it's like 99 cents at Rite Aid.
So if you're trying to season this thing, how do you do so? How do you prime it?
Well, first of all, when you get this, it's going to be empty. You don't want to buy your cigars yet because it's going to take you a couple days to prime it, to prime this humidor. And basically the way the science of it works is that the wood needs to know that it's time to absorb moisture. Alright? And the wood needs to know that that moisture is not coming from your cigars, because this wood will absorb, this wood just wants some moisture. So it don't care where it get it from. So if you was to just buy this and put your cigars in here right away, this wood is going to absorb all the moisture out of your cigars, and your cigars are going to be dry. You're going to think that you're good because the reading on there might still say that it's getting its proper moisture, but it's taking it from your cigars, which you don't want. So what you're going to do is you're going to get the distilled water like we said. You're going to wipe this humidor down with the distilled water with a clean rag.
Doesn't matter what type of thing you use to wipe it down with. Like, should you be using paper towels?
No.
Or a sponge?
No.
Or something like that?
You can use a sponge, but the sponge should be fresh out of the pack. Because if you used the sponge before, obviously it's got those microorganisms and jazzy jazz we talked about earlier, and you putting that right up in there, right up in your humidor. Alright, so you want it, if you're going to use a sponge, get a brand new one. I prefer using a rag. I usually just get a rag that hasn't been used before. Go to the dollar store or something, get you a rag, wipe it down, and then you want to take like a little, maybe like a little cup or something, fill it up a little bit with the distilled water, and put it in there overnight, and close it and lock it.
And what's that going to do to the inside of your humidor?
that's going to make the wood start absorbing the water. These things are smarter than you know. These things have brains. So when you sitting that water in there overnight, it's telling this humidor, take the moisture from the water. Alright? So you take that out the next day and you repeat that whole process again. You wipe it down again and you sit that water in there again. And then this time you want to put your whatever you're going to be hydrating your we call that hydrating in the industry. That's an industry term. You want to whatever you're going to be hydrating it with. If it's the crystal gels, sometimes they have.
There's something like this right here. You put drops of crystal like method. It's some something.
Cigar water is called, or
you put those drops in here.
Hydrogel.
And what it does is the same mechanism as this. So if you have one of these, you take this and put it in there.
And you can actually put distilled water in these too.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but they have bigger ones for the bigger humidors. So you want to put that in there this time overnight also, and then seal it, and then you're ready to put your cigars in there the next day.
I don't know anything else that we can talk about.
We might as well get to smoking.
I think we touched all the bases.
We might as well get to smoking.
I don't know about you, but I'm about to roll that shit like that shit smoking.
How long?
Always remember that cigar smoking is hazardous to your health.
Go to a vet money, PSK, maison pause delay. You see Jewel T rock ride the cross fade. Breeze from the bottom, discombobable ballet. Sharon was the break if you was digging in the crates.
When they pump it in the juice, it's gon' rock right.